Of all the things that could have happened in tonight's game with the 76ers taking it to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the best part of this was what went down in the third quarter. We'll talk about that and more on this instant reaction version of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right, FanDuel's got you covered when it comes for a profit boost. Can you tell I'm excited about this win? Profit boost on an NBA future. Just use that on FanDuel and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Marc Farzetta with you. Keith Pompey. Schedule's trying to meet up this week. Not working out well, so I wanted to make sure I got you guys one show in the books as the week starts off on this Sunday, especially a snowy Sunday in Philadelphia. I'm a Philadelphia sports talker with you for a long time in Philly. Keith, of course, a long-time beat writer for the 76ers, but he's got the night off. So we're going to talk about a couple of things today. One, we will get into Tuesday night's matchup against Indiana, against the Pacers. We'll talk about how the role players rolled in this game tonight, and then Tyrese Maxey just flat out getting mad. So we'll talk about three big things that have to do with your 76ers. But first and foremost, you know what they do. They go out there tonight and they snap their 4-game losing streak. They get off the schneid. And if I was to pick out one thing that I loved above anything else tonight, obviously the win is the biggest thing. Sixers pick up the 135-108 victory over the T-Wolves. But the best part about tonight's game was that third quarter. And Tyrese Maxey did the thing that the vast majority of us have been asking for, begging for, praying for in some instances. And Tyrese Maxey just said to hell with it. He said enough is enough. That third quarter, he took over. He had like 4 assists in the first half. Maybe he had 1 in the third quarter. He just took over that quarter. And by far, if it was to be boiled down to one specific play, it was the thunder slam that he threw down off a steal. There's a turnover in the offensive end there for the Timberwolves. Tyrese Maxey gathers it. He drives the lane, cross over the top of the key, goes over Ant-Man himself, and throws it down with great authority as the 76ers rolled in the third quarter pretty much from that point on. And by score, they only outscored the Timberwolves 26-20 in the quarter. But Maxey, of all people, took over for the Sixers in that third quarter. He had 32 points by the close. 13 of them came in that third quarter. Tyrese Maxey scoring half of his team's points in that third quarter. Also, Kelly Oubre helped out. Quentin Grimes helped out. Adem Bona, Andre Drummond. All these guys really chipped in. But, man, how long this season we have been asking for somebody, especially when you don't have Joel Embiid, and obviously you don't have Paul George, somebody step up and take control of that third quarter. And it finally happened tonight. And after Maxey threw down that slam, again, about the 7:30 mark of the third quarter, he stirs down Anthony Edwards. He's got his chest out a little bit. Knocks down a 3 later in the third quarter. Bang. And he just left it up there. He left the evidence, as they like to say. That was what we've been begging for all year. I can't say it enough. I'm thrilled with the way Tyrese Maxey and really the entire Sixers team performed in that third quarter. The other thing about it was they dictated the pace of play. If Anthony Edwards was hitting a 3, whatever was happening, they just controlled the pace of play throughout. The way that went for the most part was after that throwdown by Maxey, he gets another fake pass drive through the layup, hits the floater. VJ Edgecombe hits one of his 6 threes. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Maxey hits another 3. That's the one where he left the evidence up there to make it 90-78 at the 110 mark of that third quarter. Adem Bona, for crying out loud, asserted his, I don't want to say dominance, but size, certainly. Backing down to the rim and being able to get the layup pretty easy. And then Maxey splitting the defenders for the buzzer beater was just an exclamation point on the way they were able to close out that third quarter and make sure they had that momentum going into the fourth. And next thing you know, you saw the Timberwolves waving the white flag in the fourth quarter. Sixers actually put up 41 in the fourth by about 4 minutes to go in that fourth. Maxey sitting on the bench getting a well-deserved break. I heard a little bit of his post-game interview on NBC Sports Philadelphia before I came into the studio to obviously do the show with you guys, but I just heard him say, no, this is what they were due for. Not due for, but this is what they needed. Imagine leaving New Orleans last night. Getting on a flight after you were just absolutely 1,000% embarrassed. Keith and I were actually texting about it this morning. And it was a joke of a game. It was a heartless game. Sixers imploded in the second half. Shot something like 3 for 24 from beyond the arc, so the shooting was terrible. The energy wasn't there. They had no answers. They had nobody stepping up and making plays for them. It was done. It was over. And they get on a flight. They fly up to Minnesota. And from jump, I'm bragging about what they were able to do in the third quarter. I'm proud of it. I'm ecstatic of what I saw in the third quarter. But really from jump, this team came out swinging. This team came out throwing haymakers, whether it was Tyrese Maxey, whether it was VJ Edgecombe, whether it was Quentin Grimes to a Bona for 3 assists in the first half just between those two, Grimes to Bona. Everything was working. Kelly Oubre hustling the floor. Kelly Oubre knocking down a 3. Everyone was ready to play this game. And look, Nick Nurse, for me, has been very disappointing. He has not been able to cure this problem that the third quarter has been all season long. If there's one consistent problem other than health, it's how the Sixers team just disappears on the glass and disappears in the third quarter. And to see this team come out and play with the edge that they played with, this is what we talk about. After an embarrassing loss, this is exactly what you want to see. They have an embarrassing loss to the Pelicans, and then they go into Minnesota and they face a 35-22 win, or 35-22 team in the Minnesota Timberwolves going into tonight, and they take it to them. And starters are sitting in the final minutes on both sides of this ball game. This is what you wanted to see. This is what you needed to see from the 76ers, and that's exactly what they gave you tonight. So kudos to them. When we come back, what we're going to get into is how not just Tyrese Maxey, but the role players certainly rolled in this one. And one thing in particular that I really love to see from the Sixers, we'll get to that when we return. And we'll also take your comments as well a little bit later in the show. I'm Marc Farzetta. This is Locked On 76ers. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, Locked On 76ers. You got me. You got Keith Pompey. Keith's off tonight. We'll circle back with him later in the week. Back after this. And right now it's time to tell you about PrizePicks, and I hope you guys are taking advantage of all PrizePicks has to offer. Shoot your shot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. PrizePicks is giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks makes every dunk, every dime, every board that much more exciting. It's America's #1 app for sports picks. PrizePicks is simple. Oh, it's so simple. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you cash in. It's just that simple. You can choose from basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, UFC, and so much more. Plus, you got features like early payouts and flex play. So you've got options while your games are still happening, and that's always fun. You can download the amazing PrizePicks app and have yourself a great time. I also love the social feature where you can see what other people are playing, copy lineups if you feel the need to, with just one click. It's a cool way to learn and build better picks. So download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup on PrizePicks. It's good to be right. And, of course, don't forget about the Everydayer Club. Sign up to be part of the Everydayer Club at LockedOn76ers.supercast.com, where you can get ad-free episodes of Locked On 76ers. And not only that, but the Everydayer Club, you also get members-only Discord access. Join LockedOn76ers.supercast.com to sign up to be part of the Everydayer Club. The other thing I love, Tyrese Maxey, third quarter, phenomenal. The role players rolling in this game tonight, number one's Maxey in the third. Number two, for me, and 3 big things, is the way every role player did exactly what they were supposed to do. Now, I got a lot of high hopes, as most people do, for VJ Edgecombe to go beyond a role player. And we were talking earlier in the season about how when he got Joel Embiid and Paul George out there, you're talking about a big four more than a big three, best case scenario. Well, tonight, VJ Edgecombe was absolutely, at worst, Robin to the Batman that was Tyrese Maxey. So, VJ, what I loved about his game tonight was just how steady he was from three. All-out hustle all the time from VJ Edgecombe. 19 points by the close of the third quarter. Great to see that kind of production from him. And then when push came to shove and you saw what he was able to do from beyond the arc, I referenced his great shooting from that tonight. It was 6 of 7, 8 of 18 from the floor in general, 24 points, only attempted 2 free throws, came up with 7 rebounds. But here's one of the things you can love about VJ Edgecombe. All those other great numbers, fine. 1 assist. It irked him the other night that he had 0 assists. It irked him the other night he had 0 offensive rebounds. Well, tonight he had 1, and he had 6 on the defense side of things for 7 rebounds in total. All in all, I'm just loving watching the progression of this kid tonight. And one of the things I really loved, too, was just the flat out, not just progression, but aggression. Just like I praised Tyrese Maxey for how he was able to come out in that third quarter and just say, not today. There's no third quarter collapse today. We're not packing it in. VJ Edgecombe said, I'm going to be that guy tonight. You saw it with his typical aggression towards the basket, but more so today, it was just being so steady from beyond the arc. Whether it was catch and release threes, whether it was corner threes, whatever he was doing, he created his own shot on 2 of those occasions, shook the defender, rose up for the shot, knocked it down. That's a veteran kind of play from a rookie. So I love seeing that from VJ Edgecombe tonight. When I say the role players roll tonight, VJ is the number one guy that comes to mind. You can also talk about Kelly Oubre getting it done on both ends of the floor tonight, both defensively and offensively for the Sixers. He knocked down a couple of threes. Loved what I saw from him. But then you go down off the bench and you see Quentin Grimes giving you 19 points off the bench for the Sixers. And then he also contributed 7 assists for the Sixers. If I had to get, at least 3 of them were to Dembona in the early goings, maybe 4 in total. But I thought Quentin Grimes shot the ball well from beyond the arc. He was 5 of 8, but also was able to find the guy streaking to the basket. Dom Barlow had a couple of great finishes around the rim tonight. One of those was on an assist from Quentin Grimes. I mentioned the ones from Bona earlier. Everyone just had their head on a swivel. And I heard Kate Scott say during the game tonight, going into this game tonight, it's their 11th back-to-back of the season. They were 7-3 in those 10 back-to-backs prior. Well, obviously tonight they won. So now they're 8-3 in their 11 back-to-back, the second game of their 11 back-to-back so far this season. In the second leg of the back-to-back, they're 8-3. That number is honestly shocking to me because I just feel like they just, oh man, they drag. The game that I'm really worried about is when they eventually come back home after this 3-game road trip because they have lost a lot of games at home. They're barely a 500 team. Well, first off, at home in general, but also coming back after a 2+ game road trip, they come home, they lose. That just seems to be the concept. Well, at least, 60% of the time, that's the way it's gone down, unfortunately, this season. But all in all, what you saw from the Sixers tonight and their role players, whether it be Grimes, whether it be VJ, whether it be Oubre, whoever it might be, they came out there tonight and they helped secure this Sixers victory. And even if it's a time, if Maxey, and there wasn't a lot of them tonight, Maxey goes cold or whatever, throughout the season, we've waited for somebody else, especially in the non-PG, non-Joel world, waited for somebody else to step up. Tonight, it really wasn't needed as much, but it was certainly there. From Barlow to Oubre to Grimes, these guys were there. Hell, Bona even looked more aggressive. And I didn't even look during the game. Yeah, okay. He's a walking foul. God bless him. 5 fouls on the Dembona tonight because they see him and they go, that's probably a foul. Yeah, through different parts of the game, I thought he was moving his feet a little bit better. Not many, unfortunately. Yeah, so he also had 5 rebounds tonight. Did a Dembona. But all your role players, they contributed for the Sixers tonight. And look, as I was saying earlier, I look at a guy like Nick Nurse and I wonder, when is he going to crack the code on how he can get these guys playing well, even if they're not with their best, if they're not with PG, if they're not with Joel Embiid? How does Tyrese Maxey get back to a high level of play? In the early goings of this game, a lot of these guys looked locked in. Maxey looked tired. If you watch the first minute of this game, Maxey had 2 very bad turnovers, both of them bad passes. I saw he even went up to Kelly Oubre after the first one, and Oubre was like, no, that was on me. And anyone who watched it knows that was not on him. That was on Tyrese Maxey. But, man, did he bounce back. And the rest of the team was right there as well. Very worried about how the legs would be. The second game of a back-to-back on the road. Just the second game of obviously a 3-game road trip here. But everyone responded. I don't know what Nick Nurse is saying after the game. I don't know what he said during the game. I don't know what he said before the game, or if this team was just ready to go. The other aspect of it is, I mean, obviously Anthony Edwards, All-Star Game MVP on the other side. They just played on the same team, Maxey and him during the All-Star Game. VJ, a rising star, is MVP. Everybody had a pretty good All-Star break. Maybe they're just looking to stick it to Ant-Man a little bit in this game. You never know where the edge could come from. Maybe it was just a matter of what Tyrese Maxey had to say right after the game, which was, yeah, this is what we needed to do. We needed to. We couldn't hang our heads after an embarrassing loss to the Pelicans. We had to come in here and essentially have a statement game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that's exactly what the 76ers did tonight. So, hey, look, now they got the task in front of them. We'll get into Indiana coming up in a second, but the Sixers did exactly what you wanted them to do, and so many times we wanted them to have a game like this, a bounce-back game, a response the way they did tonight, and that's exactly what they gave in. They're led by Tyrese Maxey in the process. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about Indianapolis and also when they eventually return home as well. We'll talk about that and more in this edition of Locked On 76ers. Back after this. And right now, it's time to tell you about FanDuel. Another thing you guys should be taking advantage of fully is FanDuel and how much fun you guys could be having. If you guys ever wanted that NBA Finals experience, you ever wanted to experience that live and in person, FanDuel is giving you a chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. And here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience to the NBA Finals, courtesy of the great people of FanDuel. If you're already looking at the board right now and thinking which team can make the deep run, now's the perfect time to lock that in. I love futures. It's that time of year where you can really lock them in, and the picture might become clearer, as a matter of fact. And now you can pick your cash. How about that with FanDuel? Visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com, and use the profit boost on any NBA future and get entered for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And how about TurboTax? 'Tis the season. Do you guys want to do your taxes? I didn't think so. Go to TurboTax. Save yourself the trouble. Tax season doesn't have to be, something that takes over your life. You still want to enjoy your life. TurboTax makes it easier than ever to just hand off your taxes to a professional, an expert at TurboTax. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without all the stress or the guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get every deduction for you. You can upload your documents and go about your day and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time now with TurboTax, you can have your taxes done for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file your taxes last year, just file by February 28th. That's right now as I tape this. Well, we're doing it live to tape. 6 days away, less than 6 days away. We'll call it 5 days away. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life with TurboTax. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today at TurboTax.com. Your 10-9-8 76ers coming off a nice big fat win over the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. 135-108. Sixers now have more than 30 wins on the season after breaking their 4-game losing streak. They are up against the Indiana Pacers on Tuesday night. They'll be back at it. It's a 7 o'clock tip-off, as has been every game so far in this road trip. The Indiana Pacers right now sitting at 15-43 on the season. Your 76ers at 31-26 on the season. If I had one ask of the 76ers, don't lose what you had tonight. Joel Embiid is on this road trip. There's a chance he plays Tuesday night against the Pacers. I would just say hold him out for another game. Sixers play with the edge they played with tonight. There should be no need, no reason for Joel Embiid to enter into this game against the Indiana Pacers coming up on Tuesday night. If I have one ask of the Sixers, it's keep that same fire and intensity they had all night tonight. They brought it in the first quarter, brought it in the second, third, and then, man, they just dropped the hammer in the fourth quarter to make sure they didn't let anything slip away. Sixers in that first quarter, if you remember, one of the things that really stuck out to me as well was Sixers went on a 13-4 run. They were down. Then all of a sudden they were up 3 points after that run in the first quarter. Minnesota calls timeout. They go on a run of their own. Sixers respond later with a 10-2 run on the Timberwolves. That was the kind of fire I wanted to see throughout the game, and that's the fire we did see throughout the game. Now this is the fire I want to see for the last game of this road trip. No fire in New Orleans. Certainly saw the fire in Minnesota tonight. And then keep it going Tuesday night against the Indiana Pacers. This is a team, it shouldn't take a lot. Don't do the other thing that we have seen all year, which is play down to your opponent. We've seen it multiple times. We saw it against the Jazz. We've seen it against the Nets. Seen it multiple times so far this season. If there's an ask of the Sixers, if there's a demand of Nick Nurse, make sure this team keeps the exact style they had tonight. Make sure Maxey has the same drive that he had tonight. And keep that going with or without Joel Embiid. He is on the trip, which makes me believe that the Sixers would like to have him out for at least one game on this road trip. The Sixers shouldn't have problems beating the Pacers. Now, I say that having just seen the Sixers lose to a 15-win Pelicans team. Rise above that, bury the demons, exercise the demons, whatever you got to do to make sure you're keeping it going against the Pacers and round out this road trip with a 2-1 record as opposed to a 1-2 record. That would be a pleasant surprise to me. Pelicans game, I certainly had concerns about, considering the way we had seen the Sixers botch games like that, and that's exactly what they did. They righted the ship tonight. Make sure it stays on the right course come Tuesday. Now, Keith and I will be back with you on Tuesday to break it down further when it comes to what the 76ers should be doing in that game. We'll be back with you on Tuesday. In the meantime, I got to look at the comments for a second, but also anyone driving around Monday? Hopefully not. Blizzard conditions. Everyone, good luck shoveling, snow plowing, whatever you got to do. Just be safe. That's one thing I have to say. And before I go to the comments, I also have to say this. You can't not do a sports show today and not say USA, USA, USA. I know it's hockey, but oh my goodness gracious. For the first time since 1980, since we beat the Russians as a nation, gold medal. Absolutely incredible. Let me get Anthony in here. Anthony, great win tonight. Go Sixers, absolutely. WTR, feel like an idiot after being so negative last night. No worries. No worries. It's nice when shots fall. That was the other thing about last night. The Sixers shot 3 for the 24 against the Pelicans from 3, I believe it was. Yeah, 3 for 24 from 3. That ain't good. You're not going to win many games like that. CM Punk just saying, hi, Farzy. Hey, man, what's going on? Oh, sorry, WTR. Grimes a huge part of this team tonight. Yeah, absolutely. With the way he played tonight, certainly got to give him credit. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with you guys Tuesday. So this will count as Monday's show tonight. Keith and I will be back with you guys on Tuesday. So, yes, in the meantime, good luck with the wild weather that we're having. And you know what? I'll go ahead and make a prediction right now ahead of Tuesday, with or without Joel Embiid. Sixers win back-to-back games, baby. They get off the 4-game losing streak, Schneid. Back on the winning streak side of things. We'll talk about that hopefully on Tuesday as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Locked On 76ers. Make sure you like and subscribe. And also, don't forget about the Everydayer Club with the Locked On Sports Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there. You guys can take advantage of some great things like their members-only Discord access, as well as ad-free episodes of Locked On 76ers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Back with you guys on Tuesday. See you guys then. Bye.